They did it. They actually did it. The Arizona Cardinals found a way to hire a head coach. What do I think about it? Was it the right move? And I'm still going to yell at them for the process of it all. Let's talk about that and much more on this edition of The Ben Garcia Show.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need him. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up? Welcome in to yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, following, consuming the Ben Garcia Show, appreciate you making myself and this show a part of your day. Do me a favor, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And reminder, we are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m., breaking down the latest and greatest thing in all things Arizona sports. We are dominated right now by Arizona Cardinals talk, so let's start there. Yesterday, the Arizona Cardinals hired their head coach in Mike Lafleur, and it comes off of the heels of them flying to Seattle to meet with Clint Kubiak. We will never understand why they actually did it. In fact, I would go so far as to say that it looks even worse now with the way that they went and met with him than what we thought going into last week. There was a tweet that was put out by Adam Schefter. It was like 8 o'clock at night. The Raiders just concluded their interview with Clint Kubiak. The Cardinals are up next. And I joked on social media that Michael Bidwell took him to the local Quiznos and asked for him to split the check. What's even funnier about me saying that was the point of the joke was you couldn't tell if it was fake or not. And so when people got upset with me, like, you're spreading fake news. I'm like, no, you should be more upset with your owner that you're not sure if that joke is real or not. That his reputation is so bad, he could have took it to a chained restaurant that's been gone for a decade now. So that was pretty funny. But it was kind of embarrassing the way the Arizona Cardinals got to this. And so let's talk about the Mike Lafleur side of everything. The Arizona Cardinals have hired Mike Lafleur. And there are people out there who don't like the hire. And I want to focus on them a little bit. Because the people who like the hire, I don't need to convince you it's a good hire. You're just here to get my reaction of it. And if you want my reaction, I like the hire. I think this is the best hire the Arizona Cardinals could do. Did I want guys like Kevin Stefanski? Absolutely. He didn't want to be here. Did I want John Harbaugh? Absolutely. As soon as the Cardinals star 6-7'd him to try to get him on the phone, he hung up as soon as he heard Michael Bidwell's voice. I liked Clint Kubiak more than Mike Lafleur, 100%. But it was never attainable. Once you realize that the Cardinals did the best they could in hiring Mike Lafleur, then you will start to feel better about it. Robert Saleh used them as leverage. He was never coming here. Mike Lafleur is the perfect Arizona Cardinals candidate. Because as much as I wanted someone with head coaching experience, I wasn't just going to force that issue. A few things can be true all at once about Mike Lafleur. The first thing is he's the best the Arizona Cardinals could do. A rock solid, promising young offensive coordinator who has had some success in the NFL as an offensive coordinator, who comes from the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, and you look at Liam Cohen and Kevin O'Connell and those types of coaches, how well they have done leaving those trees. And you can see, okay, strong offensive background, has had some success before, and has been under the right coaching. It was probably his time to get a job. But then there's the negatives, which are totally fair negatives. Well, Mike LaFleur, okay. Does he have some concerns? Absolutely. He's not a perfect candidate. That's what makes him perfect for the Arizona Cardinals. More to that in a second. He was a play caller for the New York Jets at one point. How did that go for him? How'd that go for him? Not great. He hasn't called plays for the Los Angeles Rams. And honestly, you look behind him in his understudy and Nate Shieldhouse, they've been propping up him during this coaching cycle more than they've actually been propping up more than they've actually been propping up Mike LaFleur, the actual offensive coordinator. And you say to yourself, well, he didn't call plays for the Rams. They're propping up his understudy and Nate Shieldhouse more than him. And when he was with the Jets, he ended up getting fired. Those are all very fair concerns. Plus the fact that he's a first-time head coach. Those are all fair criticisms of Mike LaFleur. All fair criticisms. However, what did you think you were going to get? I mean, this is clearly better than the Vance Joseph, Raheem Morris, Anthony Weaver route. It's not even funny. Those guys were all retreads as head coaches. I know what they are. Anthony Weaver was not a good defensive coordinator with the Miami Dolphins this past year. Now, there's the caveat of how much of that was his fault, and that's totally fair. But he hasn't earned the right to be a head coach yet. Whether you like the hire in Mike LaFleur or not, he's earned the right to be a head coach. He has earned the right. And with an offense that has struggled mightily, by trying to get two pass catchers involved at one time, you needed to bring an offensive coordinator in here, an offensive-minded guy. This seems like, regardless how you feel about the Cardinals' offense, it has talent. Regardless of what you feel about Marvin Harrison Jr., he is talented. That is undeniable. Michael Wilson, talented. Again, undeniable. Undeniable. Trey McBride, best tight end in the NFL. This team has strengths on the offensive side of the ball. Not to mention franchise left tackle, Kyler Murray at some point, who maybe he's the guy. Jacoby Brissett was very viable this year. You needed to bring someone in to fix this mess. And you were always going to take a chance on someone. You were always going to have to take a chance on someone. And Mike LaFleur was the guy for the job. You didn't get everything you wanted. And you never were. But when you look at Mike LaFleur's resume and what you were dealing with in the Arizona Cardinals, a bad owner, bad facilities, seen as a bad job from pretty much everyone in the NFL landscape, when you see that and you see what you got, Mike LaFleur makes a lot of sense. Offensive coordinator for the Rams. We've seen those have success before. Liam Cohen, Kevin O'Connell. Multiple different players. Breece Hall, Andrew Whitworth, Garrett Wilson. Multiple different players coming out in support of him. Chad Johnson had good things to say. I didn't even know they worked together. I think it was Taylor Lewan this morning, had something good to say. He's earned the right to be a head coach. Is he going to be awesome? I don't know. But I'm surprised the Arizona Cardinals did this well. So all those things can be true. Has he earned the right to be a head coach? Absolutely. Does he have clear success in his past? 100%. And are there some clear negatives? Like with Clint Kubiak, what are the negatives? With John Harbaugh, what are the negatives? Kevin Stefanski even. I know you guys don't like him. I'm not going down that route. Where's the negatives? Where is it? The Cardinals are a broken organization. They were never going to get an elite level candidate. Did I want them to? Did I want them to shell out the money to do so? Absolutely. But that was never going to happen. So when you grade the Cardinals, it's like when you're coaching any sport, let's say football, right? There's a certain level of expectation you expect high schoolers to meet. So you grade them on that expectation. You don't grade kindergartners with the same expectations that you have for high schoolers. So around the NFL, when they give out coaching report card grades, I expect the Cardinals to get a C on everyone's coaching grades. Everyone's. But here in Arizona, a C grading on a curve is like a B. Because you know John Harbaugh was never coming here. Kevin Stefanski was never coming here. Clint Kubiak was never coming here. So all those things can be true. All those things I think are true. I think bringing Mike Lafleur in here was probably the perfect Arizona Cardinals hire. Here's the other side of it. Here's the other thing that's true. And I think is getting lost in all of this because after 27 days, the Arizona Cardinals finally have a head coach. I'm never usually proud to say I work in the media. I'm usually not really proud of that. Because Arizona sports media, although I think I've been trying to change this, is soft. Very, very easy for players and coaches and teams to navigate. I don't think that was true this time around. Fans and media alike killed this team. I believe media should be harsh to a fault, to where we're talking about sometimes they can be a little negative. That I'm more interested in than just fanboying. Now there's a happy medium of praising the team when they deserve to be praised and going after the team when they deserve to have arrows thrown their way. That is something that needs to be kept up. And that's the example I'm going to lead by right now. The destination was Mike Lafleur. And that is a solid hire. I think when you're grading it on the Arizona Cardinals curve, Mike Lafleur is a very solid hire. But the process in which they got here was terrible. You know, when they say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Well, if we're saying that, the way they got here was abysmal. Terrible. Embarrassing. What the Arizona Cardinals did in making everyone wait and take their sweet ass time looked dysfunctional. I've related this to a friend you know that blames all of their misfortunes on the universe. Well, if I was just a little bit more luckier, I'd actually have that job. Well, if this didn't happen, I would have this or that. Or they're in a pyramid scheme and they're trying to convince you how easy it is to make money. But in reality, they're so stupid they can't realize, oh, I'm in a pyramid scheme. The Cardinals went about this coaching circuit in the most embarrassing, worst way possible. And that cannot be lost in all of this. They should be shamed for that. It felt like every coaching hire they did, it felt like every coaching interview they did 7 stories down at Area 51 where everyone left their phones at the facilities. The secret nature of this was embarrassing. The fact that we didn't know Ron Rivera interviewed for weeks is embarrassing. They were ill prepared when Jonathan Gannon was fired in what they actually wanted in a head coach. They were just firing just to fire someone. And they topped it all off with the ridiculous meeting of Clint Kubiak in Seattle late at night, where I'm not even sure what the pitch was. And in that, you could have lost Mike Lafleur. Now you didn't. He wanted to be your head coach. That's great. However, the way they went about this was terrible. And I would encourage media and fans and people who watch this show to shame them for that. Well, Ben, you said you liked the guy that they got. I do like the guy that they got. Hated the way they went about it. This all could have been done last Monday, last Tuesday. But they wanted to really take their time with this. And if you guys have questions in the chat, sorry, I just have a show planned, so I haven't been able to get to them. But if you guys have questions in the chat, throw them in there. I will answer all of them. So let me check those. I'll check those out in just a second. Here's the other thing. This is the perfect spot for Mike Lafleur. Whether the Arizona Cardinals want to admit it or not. Like, let me back up. This is the perfect spot for Mike Lafleur in Arizona. This is someone who's been an OC for a long time, has had some success, has had some failures as well with the New York Jets. And again, how much of that was his fault? Not sure. But he's had some failures with the New York Jets. He didn't call plays for the Los Angeles Rams. How much credit does he actually get for the Rams offense? Absolutely. But in Arizona, the types of coaches that have worked are coaches like Jordan Ott, who are looked over, largely speculated as, do you deserve that Phoenix Suns job? Or Kenny Dillingham. Fun, homegrown story, but no one expected him to do this. Mike Lafleur was not the Arizona Cardinals' first choice. I don't think he was their second or third choice. That needs to be used as motivation. Mike Lafleur has the opportunity to do something a coach hasn't done here in a decade plus on Bruce Arians. Turn a garbage organization around. When you talk about coaches, you say, well, his brother Matt's better. Mike Lafleur, Mike isn't like Matt. And when you talk about he didn't call plays, when you talk about, well, the Cardinals didn't even want him as their first, second, or third choice. That is the motivation that has to be used for a true underdog to come in here and change this organization. He has to use that. He has to embody that no one here believes in you. Some people might be interested and bought into the idea, but I think a lot of people in here are concerned about if the Cardinals got their guy, especially after the optics of the Clint Kubiak meeting. Here's the final thing. Now that the Arizona Cardinals have their head coach in Mike Lafleur, and whether you like him or whether you hate it, he's had some success in the past. He's also had some shortcomings. The next question is, does he want Kyler Murray as his quarterback of the future? I will not buy into this idea that Michael Bidwell or Monty Ossenfort get to decide that. Mike Lafleur is your bright, young offensive mind that you hired. That's your guy. You need to trust him to make that decision. If he walks in here and says, he was misused, I know how to fix him, I'm an offensive-minded guy, Kyler Murray should be his quarterback of the future. This might be Mike's one and only chance to become a head coach. And if it's either Kyler Murray or the field, I think there's a very good chance he selects Kyler Murray as his guy. Does Kyler Murray have a floor? Absolutely. And his ceiling doesn't seem the highest like we thought it might be. Doesn't seem like it's as high as we thought it might be. But regardless of how you feel about Kyler Murray, there are probably 10 quarterbacks worse than him. And if you're Mike Lafleur, who do you want to go to battle with? Jacoby Brissett or Kyler Murray? And I have my concerns about Kyler. My preference would be to move on. However, if he wants Kyler Murray to be his quarterback, he should earn the right to say, that's my guy. I want him on my team. No one else gets to make that decision. No one. Not Monty, not Bidwell, not anyone else. Mike Lafleur is trying to already save his job. The one way you can derail your job is with poor quarterback play. And I am someone who is ready to move on from the Kyler Murray experience, while also acknowledging you can do a lot worse. And if Mike Lafleur wants him here, that's the only person who should be making the decision on Kyler Murray. I don't care about what the past regime did, that they soft-benched him, that they, potentially could be moving, we're planning on moving off of him as a whole. This is Mike LaFleur's team now. And you need to treat it as such, that he gets to decide the future of Kyler Murray. If he thinks he can fix him, if he thinks he knows what went wrong, that the Cardinals potentially misused him, then Kyler Murray should be their guy. And no one else gets to decide that. No one else gets to decide that. So that's where I land on that. Kyler Murray deserves to be the guy. But again, with all that being said, I want it put out there because I have been a little negative. This is a good day for the Arizona Cardinals. Who cares if they lucked into Mike LaFleur? Who cares? This is a big boy hire. Whether the way they went about it, whether the way they went about this coaching process or not, they got they got the right guy. Now, did you want Stefanski? Did you want Harbaugh? Did you want Clint Kubiak? Absolutely. But those guys were never attainable. You're the Arizona Cardinals. You have to hit on a little bit of an unknown in Mike LaFleur. Did I want them to shell out the cash to go get one of those bigger players, go get one of those bigger coaches? Yes. But the jury is out on what people think of your organization. The healing process starts now. And it starts with supporting Mike LaFleur. Giving him the money to help build his staff. And that probably means eating the contract on Nick Rowlis and bringing in a smart veteran defensive mind in here. I'm not saying Mike Lafleur is the picture perfect, going to lead the Arizona Cardinals to the promised land head coach. But I'm also saying offensive coordinator for the Rams, that McVay tree is extensive and chock full of a lot of good head coaches in the NFL. Kevin O'Connell, Liam Cohen. Mike Lafleur is a smart, bright, young offensive mind. And honestly, he might have been third on my list, fourth on my list, but I see the vision. And he has those clear negatives. He didn't call plays for the Rams last year. When he did, which was very rare, he was awesome. He also had that stint with the Jets where he got fired as the OC. Everyone gets fired with the Jets. Bill Belichick once got fired from the Jets, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was the Browns. Either way, people lose their jobs there. Robert Saleh lost his job with the Jets, and immediately everyone was like, oh, he deserves another chance. Sam Darnold's in the Super Bowl. The Cardinals need to support him. It's not enough to just get the right guy and make the right decision. They need to support him, which means don't force Nick Rallis on him. Let him make that decision. Let him hire a bright young or a bright defensive mind. Maybe it's Jim Schwartz. Maybe it's Anthony Weaver. Let him choose his quarterback, regardless of how I feel. Maybe it's Kyler Murray. Give him free rein to fix this organization. He's been in a lot of functional organizations. Let him bring that mindset here. It's not enough to just hire Mike Lafleur. You now need to support him. Does Michael Bidwell want to fire him after the 2027 NFL season? Or do you want to get it right? Because if he gets fired, people aren't going to get mad at him. They're going to say, oh, Cardinals are the Jets. He'll get another attempt. And with the amount of players, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Andrew Whitworth, Stafford, with all these players coming out in support of Mike Lafleur, you cannot screw this one up. Get him what he needs, support him, have his back. And if you do all that, this hire will work out. We'll see if they do, though. I want to take a second in the chat to read some of your guys' comments. I haven't gotten to it today. This is interesting. Another coach with no experience. Okay, a lot to prove. Michael, you know you're my guy. You hear all the time. Who was the head coach that was going to come in here with real head coaching experience, and you were going to say, I buy into that? Who? Raheem Morris? It's been his third time as a head coach. You want to go down that route? I don't think so, man. I've watched this team for 40 years. I hope Bidwell and Monty actually help him and don't screw it up. That's my point right there. This isn't going to work if they don't support him. Good morning. Michael, any coach. Okay, those are you guys. Do you think they keep Kyler now? I think it's 50-50. I really think the Kyler Murray thing is 50-50. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. It's up to LaFleur. Hey, bro, what a weekend. Hiring Mike LaFleur is the second best coaching hire the Cardinals did. First was BA. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Bruce Arians was obviously a great head coach. He was coming off the heels of, I want to say, Ken Whisenhunt. And so the Cardinals had the ability to get in that next great head coach. Like they weren't taking retreads, if you will. And Bruce Arians was a two-time coach of the year. You're right. This is probably the best head coaching hire since Arians. Because Cliff Kingsbury wasn't that guy. Steve Wilkes wasn't that guy. JG wasn't that guy. That's a good point. I would agree with that. Quiznos is like $20 for a sandwich. I'd ask to split too. Guys, the amount of people, there are people on Twitter watching this. That tweet got 100 and something thousand views. Guys, one, I don't even think Quiznos is around anymore. Two, that was the point of the tweet. It was a joke. The joke was, I tweet this out there and you can't tell me if it's real or not. And of course, it's fake. What I made up was fake. I don't know what Michael Bidwell did in their meeting. What I said was fake. That was the joke. First off, why would you take a coaching hire to Quiznos? Two, why would you ask him to split Quiznos? That was the joke. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a breaking news guy. I have no interest in doing that. That's not my lane. But there were so many of you who actually got fooled by that tweet. That was the point. The point was, your owner is so cheap and so dysfunctional, he would think that those two things are a good idea. So that was so funny. Bidwell's a cheap idiot. I couldn't have said it better myself. Had Bidwell been able to bring him to town, they could have showed him the Wi-Fi. I hear it's great. I hear the Wi-Fi is great. Okay, why does Saleh get a pass for working for the Jets, but not Mike for being the OC? I think he does. Mike Lafleur gets a pass from me. It's Zach Wilson. The statistics. Oh, this was interesting. There's a really good nugget of information out there I want to give to you guys. So give me a half a second to find this. I did not put this in my notes this morning, and I probably should have. Okay. Mike LaFleur's Jets offense ranked top 5 in most statistical categories when using any other quarterback other than Zach Wilson. That was the argument made to try to keep LaFleur. Unfortunately, the higher-ups demanded a change. This is from Connor Hughes, who covers the Jets. Again, that's interesting. That's interesting. Now, we're going to get into, on Wednesday, coordinator ideas, quarterback ideas, potential free agents. We're going to get into all that Wednesday. This is just my reaction of it. Mike Evans, how you doing, bro? You're not bringing in another wide receiver. Hey, you want to hear a hot take? There's 46 of you guys in this chat. 46 of you. Here's a hot take for you. I like the idea of bringing in players who have worked with Mike LaFleur. So like Breece Hall, obviously, but he's a running back. Who knows? Who's the other guy? I know he didn't work with this guy, but his brother has great intel on him on Malik Willis. That's interesting as well. Here's the hot take. I would call the Jets up right now and say, hey, Marvin Harrison Jr. and a second-round pick for Garrett Wilson. What's up? Garrett Wilson loves Mike LaFleur. He went to bat for him just a couple of days ago, I think so, where we said that he wanted Mike LaFleur to be here longer, that he liked Mike LaFleur. He liked his offense. He thought he did the right things to keep him open. He liked Mike LaFleur. I would call the Jets up right now and say, hey, Marvin Harrison Jr. in a second-round pick. You already took Adonai Mitchell. Why not take a risk on Marvin Harrison Jr.? You need picks. You're rebuilding. What do you guys think of that, huh? What do you think of that? Marvin Harrison Jr. in a third, maybe, for Garrett Wilson. Because he's not, like, Garrett Wilson's not a top 5 wide receiver. He's probably not top 10. But that's been because his quarterback situation is so bad. Could he be top 12 on the Cardinals? I'm just saying. That is one of those hot take things where people get upset with me about. What's up, man? How difficult would it be to get Jim Schwartz as the DC? You are speaking my language, man. If this would turn a double hire, like I think this is a solid double if we're speaking in baseball terms. In scoring position, good hit, good contact, but not a home run and not a triple. It would be a home run if you brought Jim Schwartz here. Golly, Javi. It would be a home run if they brought Jim Schwartz here. Also, Javi's the guy who has been telling me about Mike LaFleur for a long time, so give him his flowers. I always liked Mike LaFleur, but I didn't know how dire the Cardinals situation was until we got into day 25, and they still didn't have a head coach. I always bought into the idea, but I liked other guys better. But still, I think Mike LaFleur is a very solid hire. He dropped like 40 points. Yeah, okay. So people keep mentioning this. And this is where I have to play the bad guy. JM Witt 14. Why do you make me do this? Why do you make me do this? He dropped 40 points on us when he called the plays. Do we all think the Cardinals defense sucked this year or what? Everyone dropped 40. 6 teams dropped 40 points on the Cardinals this year. Everything is something, not something. Nothing is everything. So, yes, I know that that's a thing, but I don't think that I don't buy into that as much. It's the same reason why I don't buy into the Jets thing. I don't think it's fair to buy into the 40 points against the Cardinals and buy into the Jets experience. Everything is something, nothing is everything. So, again, thanks for watching it. Thanks for watching the show, JM. Could LaFleur get veteran OC in DC? Javi, I know you really like Doug Peterson. I'm not a big Doug Peterson guy, but if you told me it's Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz, I'm in. Not a big Doug Peterson guy. I want Mike LaFleur to call the offense. I don't know. Actually, that's interesting. As long as Mike LaFleur calls the offense. I think Kyler's gone. I think it's 50-50. Stop pushing that Kyler stuff. Don't be a stan. Get over it. Guys, put in the chat right now. For the 46 of you guys, after I just got done praising Javi, he went after me. Does anyone in here think I'm a Kyler stan? Does anyone in here think... He has me blocked on all social media platforms. I have went after him tirelessly. The only thing I'm saying is, and just so we're clear, I want to move on from Kyler. My only thing is, if Mike LaFleur wants him, I will trust Mike LaFleur to fix him. Just like how you, Javi, like Mike LaFleur. You can't say you like Mike LaFleur, but not also... You can't also say you like Mike LaFleur, but not trust him to make the right decision. I don't want Kyler here. I'm done with it. But I'm ready, I'll give him the chance to do it. In my opinion, I think we should give Kyler another shot. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. It's Mike LaFleur's choice. It's his choice. No one else's. You settled the Raiders are the winner here. At the Raiders? Okay. Another hot take time. I don't care about the Raiders at all. I have no interest in caring about the Raiders. I don't care about the Raiders. And I'm not going to put this out on social media because I don't care. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out for Clint Kubiak in Las Vegas. One, whoever works out in Las Vegas. Two, I like Fernando Mendoza. Are we sure he's that good? Three, if Mendoza doesn't work out, Clint Kubiak's going to get fired. It's a dysfunctional organization with an owner who has a little bit more money than Michael Bidwell. Mark Davis does not have a lot of money. Is he willing to spend it? Sure. But he's just like Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss, the former Lakers owner. She did not have a lot of money. She was a poor owner. All the money was tied up in the team. Now she's a freaking quadrillionaire because the Lakers sold for so much. But all of the cash flow was in the organization. It's the same thing with Mark Davis. Hopefully, again, I have no issues with the Raiders. Maybe it works out. I don't think it's going to work out. I think Kubiak will get fired in a couple years. We don't need Garrett Wilson. We got Garrett Wilson at home. Are you talking about Michael Wilson? Anyways, I don't get the Malik Willis fandom. I don't get it either. But if Mike LaFleur calls his brother Matt, who you know Matt wants him to succeed, and Matt's already got his quarterback, and he gives him real intel on Malik Willis, and Mike believes he can fix that, do it. Bring Malik Willis here. And we're going to talk about all this on Wednesday. But I trust Mike LaFleur. He's the bright young offensive mind. Trust him, not the front office. While you're at it, take Kyler. Ooh, Jay, that's interesting. Kyler and Marv for Garrett Wilson and a third. Who says no? Okay, now we're getting into too many hot takes. I don't really understand the idea of wanting Anthony Weaver as your defensive coordinator. Never been a head coach before. Doesn't really check off any of the veteran head coaching boxes. I think people just see the name and see other podcasts say they like him. So they say that they want him. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really want Anthony Weaver here. I'd rather have Gus Bradley. And I don't even like Gus Bradley as a DC, but at least he's been a head coach before. 2013, 2016 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't really understand the Anthony Weaver thing. But again, I trust Mike Lafleur. And the coach and the ownership and the front office needs to trust him as well. Still under contract with the Browns. I know. I don't think he stays there, though. They're going to have to give him a fat pay raise after how they treated him. Hard pass on Garrett Wilson. Listen, it was a hot take for a reason. I think that's all I got, guys. I have a K1 fan since he was in Oklahoma, been 7 years. Is enough of him. That's probably true. I'm doing, I think that's it. Yo, Ben, what are your thoughts on this? The Raiders might get hit with tampering for announcing Clint as their new head coach. Also for purposely taking coordinate. Nah. They didn't announce him as their head coach. That's why all the wording was weird yesterday. That's why all the wording was could get their head coach, targeting their head coach. They didn't actually put it out there. They can't announce it until after the Super Bowl. And I think everyone knows that. And they didn't necessarily tamper. You're allowed to talk with him last week. They can't talk with him today. Mark Davis can't be texting him today. So a little bit different. The NFL figured out Gus Bradley. Okay, for sure. And Brian is right. I don't really like Gus Bradley. And I was talking to my guy, Grant Cohn, from the 49ers. And he doesn't like Gus Bradley. My only positive for Gus Bradley is that he's been a head coach before. That's it. That's my only highlight of him. I don't really like him as a defensive coordinator. I wish they'd bring someone else in here. Okay. With that being said, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. We're going to dive deeper into all of this on Wednesday. So, whatever, the Kyler Murray discussion, what should they do in the draft? What does it change? Malik Willis. We're going to do all of that. But today I just wanted to react to the hiring. Very solid hire by the Arizona Cardinals. Do me a favor. Hit that like, share. There's 60 of you in here on YouTube. Do your boy a favor. Hit the like button. That's all I'm asking. I don't ask for super chats. I don't ask for your money. Just that little thumbs up emoji or whatever. Appreciate you guys being here. You guys are awesome. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And I will see you guys on Wednesday at 8 a.m. Unless my daughter comes. This was actually... Ben, you should win the Powerball so we can talk sports longer. Okay, well, I have another job. I love that you're here. Thank you for being here. But yeah, I got other things to do because this is just a part. This is my own business. I've got other things to do. Thank you for being here. Guys, again, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And I'll be here on Wednesday at 8 a.m. unless my daughter comes. I am not a doctor. Not at all. If I had to make an educated guess, if I had to have a hot take on my daughter's birth, I think she comes this week. Now, we are full term. On Wednesday, we'll be a week past full term. But I like to make predictions. I like to have hot takes. I think she comes this week. And if she does, I'll tell you guys, peace out, Seacrest. And I'll be back in a week, probably. But I'll put an announcement out there. My daughter is due any day now. So yeah, I will donate and you'll do this forever. My guy back to Constitution. Always had my back. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Love you all. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is, social media platform, I am there at Ben Garcia Show. Talk to you guys on Wednesday at 8 a.m.